In the deep lands of Umueri village, where the red earth cracked under the sun and moonlight whispered through tall Iroko trees, there was a palace no one spoke about loudly anymore. Not because it was empty, but because something inside it was not like other children. Every night, when the moon rose pale and thin, torches burned around a hidden chamber deep inside the royal palace. Inside that chamber stood a wide stone basin, carved with ancient symbols older than memory. And inside that basin sat a young prince. His skin was pale like candle wax, his body thin, his eyes quiet. Around him was not water, it was blood, fresh, dark, warm, and the prince bathed in it. Because if even one drop of water touched his skin, just one, his body would not scream, would not bleed. It would crumble into ash, like burnt paper in the wind. So water was forbidden, rain was feared, and blood was life. At first, no one knew. They only noticed the king's guards began visiting homes more often. By royal order, they would say, tying ropes around goats, dragging cows, lifting chickens into baskets. Every household was allowed only one livestock, just one. If your goat gave birth to twins, one must go to the palace. If your cow grew strong, it would be taken. If your chickens multiplied, the guards would arrive before sunrise. And slowly, the palace swallowed everything. The people began whispering, "What is the king doing with all these animals? Can one man eat a whole village? Even the king's stomach cannot be that brave." One old woman said, "If the king is eating all these cows, then one day he will moo instead of speaking." And for the first time in weeks, someone laughed. But hunger was no joke. Children cried at night. Mothers boiled empty pots just to trick their stomachs. Men who once walked strong now leaned on sticks. The village survived on meat before. Now, even bones were rare. Still, the palace kept ticking. And then, people began disappearing too. No noise, no struggle, no bodies, just gone. That was when fear truly entered Umueri. Now, stay with me, besties, while I narrate how it all began. Before the hunger, before the blood, before the silence, there was a king, King Obidike, the Lion of Umueri, a warrior king, a conqueror, a ruler whose name once made enemies swallow their pride and run. But even lions fear one thing: time. And King Obidike had a wound no sword could heal. 10 years of marriage, no child, no heir, no future. One evening, the council of elders gathered before him, grey-bearded, calm, merciless with truth. "My king," the elders said slowly, "your strength is great, your rule is firm, but the law of Umueri is older than kings." Another elder added, "If no heir is born, the crown will pass to another bloodline." Silence fell like a heavy stone. King Obidike said nothing, but his fingers tightened on his throne. A king can fight armies, but how do you fight an empty future? In her chambers, Queen Eleanor cried. Day, night, morning, evening. Her pillows were never dry. She drank bitter herbs. She swallowed roots. She prayed until her voice became thin. Still, nothing. Some women whispered, "Maybe the gods closed her womb." Another woman replied, "When yam refuses to grow, farmers check the soil." But nobody dared speak too loud, because the king loved his queen deeply, and pain makes even gentle hearts dangerous. Year after year, King Obidike visited the sacred shrine. He sacrificed goats, he sacrificed rams, he poured wine, he burnt incense. "My ancestors, give me a son," he begged. But the gods remained silent. And silence is the loudest answer. Then one morning, Queen Eleanor felt strange. Her stomach turned, her head spun. She vomited, again and again. "Call the midwife," servants shouted. The old midwife arrived, calm like a river that had seen many storms. She checked the queen quietly. Then she smiled. "My queen, congratulations!" Queen Eleanor screamed. "What? Are you serious? After 10 years? You mean I can finally carry my own child?" "Yes, my queen," the midwife laughed softly. "The gods have remembered you." The queen hugged her tightly. "You will be rewarded, not small reward, big reward." Outside, King Obidike paced like a restless lion. When the midwife came out, she bowed. "My king, you will be a father." The king blinked. "Midwife, do not play with my heart." "I would never, my king." For the first time in years, the lion smiled. He rushed inside, embraced the queen. "My love, we will have a child." Tears fell, but these ones were sweet. The council of elders came and congratulated the king. "Congratulations, my king. The gods has blessed us with an heir." The king ordered a feast. Drums thundered, palm wine flowed. People danced until even old bones forgot their age. One drunk man shouted, "If this child delays again, we will go and carry him from heaven ourselves." The crowd laughed. Even the elders smiled. Hope had returned to Umueri. A future had been born, though no one knew yet what kind of future it would be. The night the prince was born, the moon was round and full, bright like a silver plate hung in the sky. Inside the royal chambers of Umueri, Queen Eleanor screamed in labor. Sweat covered her body. The midwives surrounded her like experienced warriors in battle. "Push, my queen. Breathe. Just one more." And then a cry. Strong, clear, powerful. The sound of a newborn prince filled the palace walls. The midwives burst into smiles. "A boy!" one of them laughed. They cleaned him quickly, wrapped him in white cloth, and placed him gently into the queen's arms. Queen Eleanor clutched him tightly, tears streaming down her face. "My prince, you are finally here." Outside, King Obidike paced with the elders, his heart beating louder than the palace drums. The door opened. A midwife stepped out, smiling so wide her cheeks almost broke. "My king, my elders, the prince is born." For a second, the king just stood there. Then he raised both hands to the sky. "Ancestors of Umueri, you have remembered me." He rushed inside. When he saw the child, he froze. So small, so perfect, so alive. He touched the baby's cheek gently and looked at Queen Eleanor. "You have made me a complete man, Eleanor." They smiled at each other, the kind of smile people give when they think suffering is over. They named him Prince Nathaniel. Prince Nathaniel grew handsome and strong. The king trained him in warfare, in leadership, in justice. The prince rode horses like the wind, spoke like a young lion, and the kingdom loved him. People would say, "See how he walks. That one is already king in his shadow." Laughter filled Umueri again. The future felt secure. And sometimes, when a man feels too secure, life begins to watch him closely. On his 16th birthday, just when the drums were being prepared for celebration, Prince Nathaniel fell. His skin turned pale, unnaturally pale, not the kind of pale from fever, the kind that makes people shift backward. He shivered, then burned, then went cold. The king called native doctors, herbalists, healers, diviners. They came with charms, leaves, smoke, chants. Nothing worked. No one could explain it. Queen Eleanor sat by his bedside, holding his weak hand. "My boy, gods of our land, do not take my only son." The king did not sleep for days. Even the council of elders lowered their heads in silence. And then, one night, Prince Nathaniel stopped breathing. A scream tore through the palace. "My prince, no, don't leave me!" A guard ran to the king's chamber. "My king, the prince, he is gone." For a moment, King Obidaike said nothing. Then something broke inside him. "No!" His voice was low. "That cannot happen." Without another word, he mounted his horse and rode. 2 villages away, beyond the normal forest, beyond where hunters dared to go, there was a place people did not mention unless their voice was shaking. That was where the king rode. Into darkness, into silence, into the dwelling of Okalamo, the half-spirit. He sat waiting, ancient, tall, his skin marked with white chalk patterns. A flowing red robe brushed the ground like spilled blood. His eyes did not blink often. When the king approached, Okalamo smiled faintly. "King Obidake, Lion of Umueri, what brings you to my palace of doom?" The king removed his crown and bowed slightly. "It is my son." Fear sat openly on his face. "I do not want him to die. I want him to rule after me. Save him." Okalamo tilted his head. "I fear your son has already met his end." The king's jaw tightened. But the priest continued slowly. "Nothing is too difficult for Okalamo." The forest seemed to listen. "Your son will be brought back, but there are consequences." "I will do anything," the king said immediately. Okalamo's smile deepened. "Then listen carefully, Lion of Umueri." He raised one finger. "Your son must never bathe with water, only blood. If water touches his skin, he will dissolve into ash." The king swallowed. "Women must not prepare any food he eats." Another finger. "Every month, a cow must be killed and he must eat the raw meat." Silence. "Do you understand?" The rules were heavy. Too heavy. But fear is heavier. The king thought of his throne, of the elders, of another family taking his crown. He could not allow that. He would not. He nodded. "I accept," without blinking. Okalamo handed him an offer, a sacred staff wrapped in red cloth. "Call your son's name 3 times." The king gripped it. "Nathaniel!" Again. "Nathaniel!" One more time. "Nathaniel!" The forest wind shifted. Okalamo closed his eyes. "It is done." He opened them slowly. "Life has returned to your son. But remember the rules. If you break them, even I will not save him." The king mounted his horse and rode back. Far away, inside the palace, Prince Nathaniel coughed. Queen Eleanor gasped, "My prince!" His eyes fluttered open. He inhaled sharply. "My son is alive!" She screamed with joy, hugging him tightly. "Gods of our land, thank you!" Servants cried. Guards shouted in relief. The palace erupted in celebration. When the king returned, the queen ran to him and embraced him. "My king, our son has been returned to us." King Obidake smiled, but it was not the smile from 16 years ago, because only he knew the price he had to pay for his only son to be alive. And that price was not small at all. When Prince Nathaniel returned from death, the palace celebrated for 7 days. Drums thundered, palm wine overflowed, goats were slaughtered.
But the prince did not join the feast. He remained inside his chamber, silent, watching, listening. Something about him had changed. His eyes were sharper now, but colder. The king waited until midnight. He ordered everyone out of the inner palace. Only he and 2 trusted guards remained. He ordered the largest royal bathing tub carved from stone, wide enough to swallow a man. 10 strong cows were slaughtered before midnight. Their blood flowed into the carved basin until it steamed in the torchlight. The guards avoided looking at it. Even warriors have limits. Prince Nathaniel stood beside the basin, pale and silent. "Father, why must I bathe like this?" The king forced steadiness into his voice. "It is purification, my son, a ritual for kings." Nathaniel stepped in. The blood reached his waist, then his chest. He inhaled sharply, like a man stepping into warm water after cold rain. His pale skin flushed with life. The weakness left his eyes. His body strengthened instantly. King Obidike felt relief wash over him like cool water. It worked. It was terrible, but it worked. But then, a drop of water fell from the ceiling. Just one. It landed on the prince's shoulder. There was a sharp sound, like paper burning. A small patch of skin turned grey, then brittle, then ash. The king screamed and wiped it away quickly. The prince stared at the spot. No blood, no wound, just a thin trail of smoke. And then it healed again under the blood. The king understood fully now. This was no small ritual. This was maintenance. At first, the king lied. He told Nathaniel it was tradition. He told him warriors before him did the same. But lies rot quickly inside royal walls. One night, after months of rituals, the prince spoke quietly. "Father, I feel different, stronger after the blood, weak without it. Why?" King Obidike looked at his son long and hard. He could lie again, or he could chain his son to the truth. He chose truth. "I went into the forest," the king said slowly. "You died, Nathaniel. I refused it. I made a bargain." The prince's face did not change. "You must bathe in blood. You must never let water touch you. You must eat raw flesh each month. That is the price for your life." Silence filled the chamber. Then the prince asked the question of a king's son. "And if I refuse?" "You will die." Nathaniel stared at the red water surrounding him. He was 16, young, full of plans. He did not want to die. "And when you join the ancestors?" the prince asked. The king stepped closer. "You will sit on this throne. Our bloodline will remain king forever." That word, forever, is powerful. Nathaniel nodded slowly. "I will do it. Not out of cruelty, not out of evil, but out of fear and ambition and youth." Queen Eleanor knew nothing. She only noticed her son avoided rain, avoided rivers, ate separately. She believed it was spiritual discipline, until one afternoon, she entered his chamber unannounced, carrying warm food. "My son, you must eat something prepared with love." Prince Nathaniel stiffened. The king turned sharply. "Leave it," he commanded. But she had already stepped closer. She noticed the carved tub in the corner. She noticed the smell. Not perfume, not incense, iron. Her eyes followed the faint red stains on the stone floor. She looked at her husband. "What is this?" The king said nothing. The prince spoke instead. "Mother, I died." The bowl slipped from her hands. The king finally told her everything. The shrine, Okalammo, the rules, the blood, the raw flesh. Queen Eleanor trembled. Her first instinct was horror. Her second was motherhood. "Will he die if we stop?" she asked. "Yes," the king answered. She looked at her son, her only child. 10 years of tears, 16 years of love. Her voice broke. Then we will do what we must. And just like that, 3 hearts agreed to something the world would never understand. The next morning, King Obidike stood before the kingdom. His voice thundered across Umueri. By royal decree, every family must bring 10 livestock to the palace each day. Gasps rippled through the crowd. 10? Per family? Whispers rose like smoke. What is the king doing? Does he think cows grow like grass? Can he eat the whole kingdom? But he was the lion of Umueri, and lions are not questioned. The guards enforced it. If a family resisted, they were beaten. If someone hid livestock, it was seized. 10 became daily supply. Goats, cows, chickens. The palace gates swallowed them all, and still it was not enough.
Prince Nathaniel was growing, stronger, taller. His appetite increased. 10 cows no longer filled the bath deeply enough. The king raised the demand. More. Now families were required to bring more than 10 daily. The kingdom began thinning. Fields were abandoned. Children cried at night. Anger grew. Does the king want us to starve? They whispered. But no one dared revolt. The guards were merciless, and fear feeds obedience. And who would challenge King Obidike, the lion of Umueri? Even hunger fears a strong ruler. But something else began happening. The prince stopped going outside during the day. Sunlight irritated him. He preferred torchlight. He avoided fountains. He avoided rain. The first time thunder rolled in the sky, he froze. "Father, make it stop." The king immediately ordered priests to burn incense across the palace. Rain clouds were prayed away. When rain threatened, fires were lit. Umueri began suffering small droughts, but the palace remained untouched. The prince continued. Blood baths under torchlight, raw flesh once every month, slaughtered cow, eaten without cooking as commanded. No woman prepared his food. The queen never entered during ritual nights, but she prayed outside the door. Sometimes she covered her ears when she heard the slaughter. Years passed. Prince Nathaniel grew into a powerful young man, stronger than any warrior, faster, sharper, but something else grew too, a stillness in him. He did not laugh often anymore. He did not smile widely, and when rain clouds formed in the sky, the entire palace held its breath. One evening, as the blood filled the basin once more, Prince Nathaniel looked at his reflection. The surface trembled red. He did not see a monster. He saw a king. But behind his reflection, for a split second, he saw something else. Not his face, something older, something patient, something that had been waiting since the forest night. He blinked, it was gone. He said nothing, but that night, for the first time, he did not feel like he was surviving. He felt like he was being shaped, and somewhere far in the forest, Okalamor smiled without knowing why. 7 years, 7 long red years. Prince Nathaniel was no longer a boy. At 23, he stood tall, broad-shouldered, powerful. His voice had deepened. His presence filled rooms. When he walked, servants bowed quickly, not only out of respect, but out of something else, something uneasy. But while the prince grew strong, Umueri grew weak. The village that once echoed with animal sounds now felt empty. No cowbells, no bleating goats, no chickens scattering at dawn. Every home was allowed only one livestock, barely enough to survive. The elders intervened. They stood before King Obidike once more. "My king, the people are suffering. We have obeyed your decree faithfully, but the land grows thin." The king listened, then dismissed them. "My decree is law." And that was the end of it. The lion of Umueri did not bend, even when his kingdom was bending under him. Whispers grew in the marketplace, in the wells, even in the palace corridors. Maids whispered behind trays. Guards murmured behind pillars. But only 2 guards knew the full truth. The rest obeyed orders. Bring livestock, deliver it to the palace, ask no questions. Hunger tightened its grip. Children slept on empty stomachs. Men who once spoke boldly now spoke softly. And the king? The king cared only about one thing, that the throne remain in his bloodline, that his son would sit upon it, that no other family would ever touch the crown. Scarcity came. The land had been stripped too long. The guards returned some days with fewer animals than required. The royal bath needed depth. Blood had to reach the prince's shoulders. 10 cows were no longer enough, then 20, then more, and still it fell short. Sometimes, cows the guards bring back is barely enough for the prince to bathe with. So the king made the decision that truly sealed Umueri's fate. If livestock failed, human blood would complete the ritual. At first, it was 1 villager, then 2, then 5 in a week. No bodies, no funerals, just absence. Fear began walking openly in Umueri. The king gave the order only to his 2 trusted guards, quietly, carefully. Bring them at night. A secret dungeon beneath the palace, a place even most servants did not know existed, became their holding ground. At night, the screams were muffled by thick stone walls. Buckets were filled and carried upstairs. The ritual continued. Year after year, Prince Nathaniel turned 24, stronger than ever, health glowing, skin flawless, except when rain threatened. Queen Eleanor knew. She had known for some time. She saw the numbers thinning in the village. She saw the palace quiet at night. She saw her husband's eyes grow harder. She wanted to stop it. Many nights she sat alone whispering, "This is wrong." But every time she looked at her son, every time she remembered his lifeless body at 16, her heart defeated her conscience. "I cannot lose him again," she would whisper. So she remained silent, and silence is sometimes louder than cruelty. Fear and hunger are a dangerous combination. People stopped leaving their homes at night. Children were kept indoors. Men slept with machetes beside their beds. The villagers brought their concerns to the king. "My king, our people are missing." He nodded gravely. "We will investigate." But nothing changed. Soon, whispers became meetings, secret meetings. The village youths gathered in darkness. "We are starving. Our people are vanishing. The king takes everything." One young man spoke boldly. "Something is happening inside that palace." Another nodded. "How can the king take all our livestock and leave us with absolutely nothing? And now people are disappearing too. Something must be done fast before we are completely wiped out from the face of this earth." Silence, then a decision. "One of us must go inside and discover what is really happening." And Adam stepped forward. Adam was strong, sharp-eyed, calm under pressure. He presented himself at the palace gates as a man seeking service. The head guard examined him carefully, tested his strength, questioned his loyalty. After scrutiny, he was given a position. For 1 week, Adam observed. He watched the king. He watched the queen. He watched the prince. He noticed something strange. No one was allowed near the prince's chambers. Not maids, not servants. And when it was time for the prince to eat, only men prepared the food. No woman entered the kitchen. Adam found it odd, very odd. He kept watching, quietly. One night, Adam saw movement in the courtyard. Cows were being slaughtered, many cows, more than usual. He narrowed his eyes. Then he saw them, 5 villagers, tied, crying, begging, ignored.
Adam pressed himself against the wall, barely breathing. He watched. One by one, they were killed. Their blood collected into a large bucket. His stomach tightened. His mouth went dry. The bucket was lifted, carried toward the prince's chambers. Adam's heart pounded in his ears. He followed, carefully. No one was allowed near the chambers, only the king and the 2 trusted guards. But the corridor was dim. The chamber door was slightly open. Adam positioned himself carefully by the side, and he saw it. The guard poured the bucket into a massive stone bathtub. Steam rose faintly. Prince Nathaniel stepped forward, calm, almost regal. He entered the blood and bathed in it. Adam nearly screamed, but his hand covered his mouth. "So this is what they are doing," he whispered under his breath. Then, a single drop of water fell from the ceiling. It touched the prince's shoulder. Instantly, ash. The skin dissolved in a small grey patch. Nathaniel shouted sharply, "Did you not know there was a leak in the ceiling? Are you that incompetent?" The guard fell to his knees. "I will have it fixed in the morning, my prince. Forgive me. Make sure it does not happen again." The ash patch healed quickly under the blood. Adam had seen enough. Carefully, slowly, he retreated, his heart pounding so loudly he feared it would expose him. At dawn, Adam approached the head guard. "My mother is very sick," he said respectfully. "She has requested my presence. I only ask for 1 day." The head guard studied him, then nodded. "Go, return quickly." Adam left the palace gates, but he did not go to his mother. He ran straight to the youths, because what he had seen was no rumor, no guess, no suspicion. It was truth, and truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. Adam did not sleep that night. When he reached the youths, his voice trembled, not from fear anymore, but from the weight of truth. He told them everything. The slaughtered cows, the 5 villagers tied and begging, the bucket of blood, the stone bathtub, the prince stepping into it like it was normal, the drop of water from the leaking ceiling, the ash. Silence fell over the youths like a burial cloth. One of them whispered first, "So, our brothers and sisters are being used like livestock?" Another clenched his fist. "The king is killing us to preserve his son?" Adam nodded. "He cannot touch water. If water touches him, he dissolves. He bathes in blood, human and animal." A gasp spread through the group. "So, we are feeding a spirit? We are dying so he can live?" Anger replaced fear. "We cannot allow this to continue," one youth said firmly. "We will not allow this village to be wiped out to preserve one life." But another warned, "If we rush, the king will order our execution." They fell quiet. Then Adam spoke again. "We must be spiritually fortified before we confront him." And that was how he and Nonso began their journey. They traveled beyond Umueri, beyond the farms, beyond the last cluster of huts, down the hills to a distant village where lived the great spiritualist, Ajibusu. Ajibusu welcomed them before they even spoke. "Welcome, my sons. I know why you have come." Adam and Nonso exchanged glances. "Your prince is not fully human. He is tied to the spiritual world. What has been done in Umueri has disturbed balance beyond what you see." Adam bowed. "What must we do, Great One?" Ajibusu's eyes darkened. "This calamity must end. For 2 nights, both of you must sleep in this shrine to be fortified." For 2 nights, they slept in his shrine. He fortified them with herbs, smeared them with chicken blood, chanted incantations deep into the night, burnt leaves whose smoke stung the eyes. "No human or spirit shall harm you," Ajibusu declared on the 3rd morning. "Return, gather the elders, gather the villagers. The truth will stand today, and a new king will rise." Adam and Nonso returned. They gathered the villagers, men, women, elders, youths.
Fear was still there, but fear had grown tired. They marched toward the palace. Forced entry. The gates were pushed open. Guards tried to block them, but the numbers were overwhelming. Even the elders walked with them. They would not hide anymore. King Obidike stepped out. Prince Nathaniel stood beside him. Queen Eleanor too. The king's voice thundered. "Why are you causing nuisance in my palace?" Adam stepped forward. "My king, you have committed abomination in this village. Today, your reign is over." Before the king could roar in anger, Adam lifted a bucket filled with water and poured it on the prince. The water touched Nathaniel's skin. For a split second, silence. Then, ash. His body began dissolving rapidly. Skin grayed, cracked, fell apart like burnt parchment. The prince screamed, a sound that did not fully belong to this world. The queen shrieked, "My son!" She rushed forward, but it was too late. Within moments, Prince Nathaniel was gone. Only a pile of ash remained where a future king once stood. The courtyard fell into stunned silence. Villagers stared. What are we seeing? So it is true. He was not human. Whispers rippled through the crowd like wind through dry leaves. King Obidike stood frozen, his face drained, his pride shattered. "How dare you!" he shouted weakly. "Guards, arrest him!" But the guards did not move. They had seen it too. They understood now. The lion of Umueri had fed them lies and blood. The queen collapsed beside the ash, wailing, "My son! My son!" Adam stepped forward again. "My king, what you did was wrong, but you are not the first hand that caused this." The villagers turned. Adam continued. "Ichie Oji, the prime minister, was responsible for the queen's barrenness. He wanted to overthrow you, to become king." Gasps. "He poisoned your house with spiritual manipulation. When the gods blessed you after 10 years, he was angry, so he killed your son on his 16th birthday." Shock turned to fury. In your desperation to hold on to the throne, you raised him back and the village paid the price. Eyes turned toward the prime minister. Ichioji trembled. He could not deny it. Immediately, Ajibusu stepped forward from the crowd. His presence silenced everyone. "This kingdom has suffered enough," he declared. He raised his staff. "Onowu, Ichioji, you are banished from Umueri under penalty of death. Return and you shall not live alive." The guards seized him. He was escorted out in shame. Then Ajibusu turned to King Obidake. "Lion of Umueri, your love blinded you. Your fear destroyed your people. You are dethroned immediately. Leave this village with your wife and the resources necessary for survival, but you shall not rule here again." The king did not argue. His shoulders had fallen. His throne was gone. He and Queen Eleanor departed in a carriage filled with what they needed, not as rulers, but as exiles. Onowu Ajibusu turned to Adam. "You have stood for truth. You have risked your life for this land. You shall be crowned the king of this land." Adam stepped back. "I am not worthy." Onowu Ajibusu shook his head. "The gods have chosen, and the people have witnessed." Incantations were spoken. Elders nodded. Adam was crowned. Adam, first of his name, the tiger of Umueri. The villagers erupted in celebration. Drums returned. Dancing filled the air. Slowly, livestock returned. Fields were replanted. Rain fell freely without fear. Prosperity crawled back into Umueri. And so, the story did not end in joy alone. It ended in lesson. Because the throne is powerful, but fear of losing it can make a king forget he is human. Moral lesson. When love is driven by fear, it becomes destruction.
When power is protected at all costs, the cost will eventually be paid. And no throne, no matter how mighty, is worth the blood of the people who hold it up. Balance must always be respected, or water will come and wash everything away. Before you leave, let me ask you something very important. If you are King Obidaike and you had only one son, would you let him die and save your people? Or would you sacrifice your people to save him? Think about it carefully, because it is easy to judge from outside. But when love and power sit in your hands at the same time, not everyone chooses wisely. I want to hear from you. Was the king a monster, or was he just a father who feared loss? And do you believe Adam deserved the throne? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Thank you so much for watching this story all the way to the end. Your time means everything. If you enjoyed this folk tale and you want more powerful African stories like this, make sure you like this video, drop your opinion in the comments, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next story, and share this with someone who loves deep emotional tales. Until the next story, remember, power without wisdom always demands a price.